Suppose we'd like to write a program that prompts the user for a string and then capitalizes that string. Well, let's start with some familiar code, declaring a string called s and assigning it the return value of getString. And let's now proceed to iterate over the characters in this string. Well, how to do that? It turns out that a string is just a sequence of characters, but more properly, a string is an array of characters, which means we can use square bracket notation to index into a string and get at individual characters. In other words, we can do the following. For int I gets 0, and n gets, say, the length of s, using our function strlen, I is less than n, I++. In other words, with this loop, we will iterate over all n letters in the string s. And within this loop, I'm going to check if the ith character in s is greater than or equal to lowercase a, and the ith character in s is less than or equal to a lowercase z, then I want to proceed to capitalize that letter. In other words, I want to print out %c as a placeholder and substitute in for that placeholder s bracket I, but then I need to convert s bracket I to uppercase. To do this, I can simply subtract whatever the difference is between lowercase a and capital A. Well, I actually do recall that capital A is 65 in ASCII and lowercase a is 97, so the difference is technically 32. So I could just hardcode 32 here, but I might not necessarily remember those numbers, and moreover, what if they vary by computer? Most likely they're not, but the point remains that I can still generalize that arithmetic expression as just whatever the difference is between a lowercase a and a capital A is what I want to subtract off from this particular lowercase letter. Now, if this particular letter is not lowercase, I simply want to print it out. Printf %c is my placeholder, s bracket I. And at the bottom of this program, let's simply print out a new line so that my prompt appears on a new line of its own. Let's now compile this program with make capitalize-0. Let's run it with capitalize-0. And let's type in a word like hello in all lowercase. I get back hello in uppercase as expected. But let's try one more test, this time with my own name, D-A-V-I-D, but with the first D capitalized, just in case I mess something up with that first char. Enter. And D-A-V-I-D in uppercase is printed as well.